a lack of connection. There's a disconnect there. That if we're trying to have a very vulnerable conversation,
right,
it's just better to do it in person. Now, I've got clients that travel all over the country and all over the world sometimes that, that we would rather be able to do a health session and get it in versus having to miss a week.
Because I think that's important, though, because people that may be listening that may be on the edge of, should I do it or shouldn't I do it? Especially our folk, right? They want to maintain privacy and stuff like that. We don't want to discourage them from starting the journey. But it's what I'm hearing is that definitely the fruit, the core, the nuts and bolts of it all will really benefit you is if you move towards that face-to-face interaction.
So, Dr. Lambert, I know obviously, we can Google stuff, but I want from your perspective, what is the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist?
Good question.
So a psychiatrist, we used to joke about this in graduate school. So the psychiatrist is the MD doc, right? They went to medical school. The psychologist went to graduate school. And so they went through a graduate program and they are the PhD or PsyD, or ED or an EDD doc, right? And we used to joke about this in graduate school that the psychiatrist, the MD doc, which stands for money doctor, and the PhD is the graduate doc, which stands for poor hungry doctor.
Gotcha. Well, because a lot, and people may know, but I think a lot of people don't, and always maybe even kind of confuse the two as to kind of how they go about dealing with their clients or patients.
Right, would they need a psychiatrist or a psychologist?
Right.
I've always seen it as whoever can give you the drugs.
Oh, Lord.
Right. So the MD doctor can give you the drugs, so that's what I'm going to see.
All right.
I would say this: the MD doc, depending on the severity of the illness, right? So the more acute the issue, and if medication is clearly necessary, go straight to the psychiatrist. But the psychiatrist is not trained in counseling and therapy. Like, they didn't go to school for that.
Right.
They learned about the body. They learned about medicine. They may have had some rotations and stuff like that where they, developed some counseling skills, but that's not what they went to school for. Right. They went to school to be able to prescribe those meds and assess like which meds should be prescribed. Mm-hmm. So, I would not, qualitatively, I would not want my psychiatrist to be my counselor.
Gotcha.
I would want my psychiatrist to simply stay in their lane and share the expertise that they went to school for. And I would rather have my counselor, I would rather have a counselor in addition to my psychiatrist. And if it was, I'll tell you, if it was unless it's debilitating schizophrenia, depression, bipolar, it's clear, this is really, really bad.
Right.
My first step would be to go to the psychologist because the psychologist could assess what's going on. They would develop a relationship with me and walk with me all the way. And then they would refer me to a psychiatrist that they respect.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so there's going to be a relationship there and a collaboration there regarding what's best for me between the two of them.
Right.
But if I go to the psychiatrist, it's they got one job. Their job is to prescribe medication, assess the situation, decide whether you need to be hospitalized or whatever. But they're not walking with you, in regards to dealing with this longer term. That's not what they do.
And I think that's a great point because I think a lot of us in our culture, Black men especially, will shy away from therapy because that's the first thing they think about. Well, therapy means drugs. Therapy means, people think I'm crazy. Therapy means, that somehow I can't handle my business. When it's actually the opposite way. And I think the pandemic has really made that relevant to us because we've had these fractured relationships now with people because everyone was isolated for so long. Yeah. And we got to realize, like you said, Dr. Lambert, it's so much more about the relationship, I think, than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, we're hardwired to be social beings. I mean, that's who we are.
Unless Mike don't like people.
I don't.
Mike likes to be alone in solitude.
I do. I have another question, Dr. Lambert. I know last time we spoke, we were coming out of the pandemic. Kind of, we were still close to that whole period of time. My question is, do you experience spikes depending? Could you look at like the news and current events and identify spikes when people need more counseling and times when they don't?
Oh yeah. It's not a one-to-one, right? But it's correlational more than anything, right? Because the spikes can be coming from different directions. But I would say, like, in general, year after year, we have certain spikes that occur seasonally. And so people tend to feel better overall during the summer when the sun is out and they're taking vacations and the grind slows down a little bit. And so people don't come into counseling as much, or they're even canceling sessions or not scheduling sessions as frequently during the summer because they're living their best life. They're going and doing all that stuff during the summer. Now, come the fall, things start to slowly pick up for families with children, the kids, stuff going on with school, problems with peers, stuff like that. So we start to see like a gradual pickup as the school year gets underway. Maybe mom and dad have procrastinated on a psychological evaluation that the school wanted done before they started the next school year or something like that. So we start to see over the next couple of weeks, we're going to start to see like a little bit of an increase on the school age kids, where they're needing evaluations or they're concerned about the new year starting and their kid having problems in the new school that they're going to or something like that, right?
Stop high-siding.